So I had some room for thought. Scary idea, I know, but when you have plenty of time, you get to cogitate things. So I've done some finagling with the table in the back, and I'll cover this in a second. So one thing I didn't particularly like about my platform, and I mentioned this during installation, is it was somewhat of a pain to put it in and out. So the second issue that happened was that, and I've mentioned this previously as well, the fact that I couldn't put my canisters underneath of the platform. So they would have to be lifted. And I've talked about how the table was actually tucking underneath of this over there. So what I ended up doing, I took a Sawzall and basically cut 1/2 inch from this side of the table and that side of the table, so that the entire table could actually come out. The second component, and the second reason why I did that, is so that I could actually lift this. So as you see, I could actually do that now. So what I had to do was figure out what the height was. So I brought 2 canisters here, placed them underneath of here. Basically the water container still does not fit. A fuel container, theoretically, after I lift this, should fit. So I'll get around to the water containers after the fact. So one of the things that you can notice is I got some 2x4s over there. When you put any kind of platform like this in the back of your pickup truck, you could basically kiss goodbye being able to just throw something in here. I mean, I guess you could put the tailgate down and all that stuff, but it's not like the good old days where you could just do that, unless you want to move the table. So I put this up where the kayaks would go. I don't know where to begin. Okay, tying anything to the top of your pickup truck, especially if it has any kind of weight, comes with its own disadvantages. So naturally, as you see, it's all twisted and all that, right? So I tied it up all properly at Lowe's, pulled out, drove for about a mile or so, pulled over, retightened everything, drove another 5 miles, pulled over, retightened everything, and by the time I made it here, in another 10 miles or so, it looks like this. So I'm not a particular fan of tying anything without ability to secure stuff, because this is what happens. Now it hasn't gone anywhere, it's tied there proper still. I just don't like the fact that it's all wonky like that. It wasn't gonna fall off or anything like that, but it is what it is. So what I'm gonna do is each of the 2x4s will have to get cut to whatever is the this over here. So if you notice, with me having cut this, now there's a little bit more spacing in here, so the 2x4 will actually go underneath of this, kind of like that. And I bought, technically I just need 2 on that side and this side. I bought 3. I don't know if I'll need 3, but I did think about the possibility of either placing one between the tables here or placing one over there, or just keeping it. At a minimum, I still need 2. So anyways, I had to cut the tables, so I did that. I also decided to cut the legs off, use my Sawzall. I broke some teeth because I didn't have the right blade, so I had to buy a correct metal blade for the Sawzall, so I'll be chopping the legs off. I just don't like the fact that they're there. They're just adding weight and all that stuff. So tables are going to come out anyways. For the 2x4s, since I have to take them out anyways, I might as well just chop the rest of the legs off. Okie dokie. So, before I proceed any further, just thought I should share some of the vision. Lift this up like yay, and basically place table on top of it. Now, like I said before, this isn't the blade that I tried to cut the legs with yesterday. I had a different one. It was a bimetal. It wasn't 60 pi. It literally sat on it I-beam and wood, and well, let's just say that I was able to cut one leg before blade began to disintegrate, and in the interest of safety I said, okay, time to throw it out. Brand new blade. So used this blade, which is 60 pi wood, to basically cut the table. If you remember my previous video, this plastic piece was sticking out further, and so you could see how one of the reasons why I didn't want to let go of this metal pieces, because prices of metal are through the roof nowadays. So if I was to source this from Lowe's or Home Depot, it would cost me additional money. So being a frugal guy that I am, just decided to chop the legs off. And so one of the difficulties is that right there, there's welds and everything, so you have to cut it right on top of the welds, and obviously this isn't the most optimal for cutting to begin with. Same thing over there. So the way I was able to do that is, if you lift the legs like so and chop that and this, you just take this entire thing and flip it this way, basically lifting this perpendicular like that, and then chop that. This time just came from Lowe's. So this is 14 TPI. It says on it that allegedly it cuts through up to ½ inch, which I doubt, but it does say metal on it. So let's see how that cuts. Alright, so here's the moment of truth. So to kind of give you an idea of what I did, once again, had to lift the table, and as you see, put 2x4s in there. One of my obvious concerns is that the 2x4s are going to slide out, which is possible. So in anticipation of that, I did buy some of that velcroed with adhesive backing, which I intend to actually put it in there. I just haven't done it yet. So mercifully, in lifting that, it is basically at the same level as this, which is good. I did lose an additional, I guess, 1.5 inches of the space, so it means that there's less space of that here. But the basic logic behind it was that I couldn't put my canisters in there, right? Would you look at that? Actually, you know what? I just surprised. Well, no. I'll talk about this in a second. But functionally, entire purpose would be to take my gas cans and just basically be able to slide them here. The way they're supposed to be fueled is on the ground, away from the vehicle, so it was really important for me to be able to actually take them out and put them back in. So I've already measured. I could fit all 6 of my fuel cans, and in between of them I could actually put one water jug. Now the thing with the water jug, and the reason why this platform isn't going to work out for that, unless I flip my canisters, which is possible, it's just extra hassle at the gas station. So Basically what happened in Moab in Colorado is that I had a row of this, kind of like this, right? Like if you could envision this being there. So at the gas station, I could flip the tailgate and fill this up. And then I could put the water hose into each one of the 8 of these so that I could stock up on both water and fuel. Well, to be able to do that, you had to unscrew this, right? So you need space to put your hand in there. As you see, in theory, you could slide this in there. And in theory, you could fill them up one by one. But problem is, I'm gonna have 6 fuel cans and 8 of those. It's just a lot of shuffling. So I've been looking at what my other options are with respect to everything, and this being 6 gallons, Walmart brand. I think it's made by yeah, there you go, Reliance. So Walmart sells 7-gallon version of this, which is lower in height. I think this is about 19 inches. The other version is like 15, which is probably a high. Problem is, they occupy 11 by 11 space, which isn't what I want, because I can only fit 4 of them like that, and that means it's what is it, 28 gallons. Even if I buy 8, I'd be just occupying way too much real estate, and I'd have to squeeze in there. So I was looking at potentially getting Aqua Tank 2, which is the water bladder system. The downside to having it is that I'd be sacrificing tremendous amount of space, and considering how heavy the water is, it would be really stupid for me to keep it up here. So I'm still kicking around what my options are. I do have hitch mounted platforms that I bought at Harbor Freight before my trip to Moab. An idea that got scrubbed after the fact, specifically to actually store fuel cans on it. So I could put water canisters on it, but then I have to figure out what to do with it when I'm not using it, because it's going to interfere with off-roading. So as you see, there's all those logistical issues, and you might be wondering, well, why am I doing this now if I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, presumably. All of this stuff needs to be solved way ahead. Like, the only reason why I was able to execute my 8,000-mile trip was because I planned it for so many years. I planned every single detail, every single everything. Every single space, every single box, every single, just like everything had a place. Not because I have some OCD on it, but because I tested it and tested it again and tested it some more. Took it in, put it out, put it in, put it out. So, because, you know, like, imagine this. If you have 6 cans like that, right, it means that you can't get in the back. So something that's over there needs to be basically not something that you need on a regular basis, right? And at the same token, that's a lot of space over there. So there's that. But at the very least, now you can see I can actually squeeze all of the canisters underneath. Worst case scenario, I could take everything out. I just really don't want to, because one thing that was happening was that when I was boondocking, I could just put a hose into each canister and then pump water from each one of these into my motorhome. And so that was kind of the reasoning behind just keeping it there permanently. So I did think about potentially elevating this even higher to allow it to do that, but that would mean sacrificing even more overhead room, which isn't something I want to do. So, but now you kind of see why and what kind of deal. Prices on replacement fuel cans and replacement water containers are through the roof. To get you an idea, this is almost double the cost when I bought it. This mercifully is about the same price. So as you see, it's beat up from all the off-roading I was doing. It's all dirty and covered in Colorado and Moab dust, and I haven't got around to cleaning anything after I came back from the trip. It's been almost a year actually. But here you go. I could still put my duffel bags and whatnot over here, and everything else that I need on a regular basis accessible from the sides. And then just have to figure out how to do all of this. I measured the water bladder. 60-gallon aqua tank 2 is about 40 something by 30 something. So basically it would be occupying that entire space up to, I think, like here-ish. And this over here is actually meant for a 2x6, which I could actually cut because I do need a way to contain my canisters from going that way anyways. And I do have 2x6s, so or I could just recycle the bars that I used last time. So I'm gonna finagle some more and add to this video after I'm done doing that.